Welcome to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Friday morning. I hope you are well. You're looking after yourself. You're treating yourself well. Obviously, Friday, weekend coming up, all that, Enjoy it. Make the most of it. The weather's looking dry. I think even though we're in May and we're in close to summer, just be grateful it's not raining or thunderstorms. In this video, talking about the game, obviously, last night. We're going to talk the Twitter overreaction. We're going to talk about players who I don't think are good enough to play for this club anymore. We're going to be talking about the negativity surrounding the club at the moment. And we'll jump in. We'll talk about it. So don't worry. I'm obviously, by the way, a lot more positive than this. So if you're coming across this for the first time, don't worry. I am way more positive than this. All you have to do is go back and watch like one video and you'll go, oh yeah, he's actually quite a positive guy. So don't come in the comments and label me as negative like everyone else, because I'm not. All right. But if you're new, though, give us a subscribe. Thank you very much for going to join us for the journey. And let me start with the game yesterday. Look, it's a game yesterday that I think most players will come out of that game looking themselves in the mirror and going, I was not at the races today. I think there's only probably a handful of players that can sit there out of that game and go, I was decent. But that's not the way we should look at it. We should look at it as a collective team, and we weren't good enough. We weren't. We weren't good enough defending set pieces. We were giving free headers away from set pieces. And I know Ange is kind of saying, we don't have issues. I think partly we do, but I think also partly we have to look at the defenders of corners and set pieces and go, do you actually want to defend these? Because actually, if you do want to defend these and you have the will to defend and go, I'm getting my head on that ball, you'll actually clear a hell of a lot more. Now, don't get me wrong, organisationally wise, yes, that comes from the training field, but we should also be going, I'm putting my head in this ball, I don't care. We're clearing this. Like Neville was talking about in the co-coms about how Vicario's really jittery at set pieces and corners and things like that, and you can see it. He just doesn't stand still. He's just bouncing, he's pushing, he's talking, and sometimes that's good, and sometimes when you're watching us recently, you can show it's a sign of a guy who is petrified. And I love Vic. Vic is a great shot stopper, good distribution. He's evidently a guy who is a good leader in the group. He wants to win. He wants to be better. But let's be fair. Set pieces and, high balls seem to be an issue for him. So, that's something that we have to look at. And I think, is it a case when I talk about, we need to get a new six? The six has to be such a large human being to allow us to defend set pieces. Because we talk about Edison from Atalanta. Yeah, really exciting player. But he's not physically imposing. He's not going to win you headers and things like that. That's when I talk about Onana and I go, look, it's another big body in the team. Because we've got a team who at times I just feel like it's too small. So, I mean, look at this. Noni Madueke was out jumping Emerson for all the balls, and he was more physical than Emerson. That was embarrassing. I will come to individual players in a minute, don't worry. But yeah, we need to be better at defending set pieces. But because, on our offensive set pieces, we're great. Romero's winning headers, and Romero should have scored yesterday. That header, he didn't need to get as much power onto it. He could have steered it into the corner. Petrovic was getting nowhere near it. So we can clearly get on and head the ball. I think partly it is also down to kind of saying, I don't think people want to. I think Mickey van der Ven's, not really good enough at defending set pieces either, as a guy who should be with Romero, bullying and dominating their own box. I don't think we have that, Looking at the first half, I thought that was probably one of Sarr's worst performances. Sloppy on the ball, lack of energy, which was a weird one. There was a lack of energy yesterday that I kind of thought about and went, how many of these players actually played 90 minutes on Sunday? A handful? We should have been flying at the races. This is a Chelsea team that are missing 13 players, was it? We should have been at them from minute one and going, we're going to break them. We get one, we'll get 3, 4, 5. Newcastle missing countless amounts of players. I think our players kind of go into it and go, look how many players they're missing. We're going to break them. We're going to kill them. Yeah, you still have to turn up and play. You still have to turn up with that same hunger, that same killer mentality that you would if you played a full strength Man City side away from home. So I think as much as people go, he's out of his depth. Okay, so who's the manager that we're bringing in? Oh, let's get Thomas Tuchel. Great, right, we're going to go back to playing really negative football that I don't want to see. I don't want to see it. I'm done with negative football. I had the mentality of negative football, but if we win something, well, great. We had 5 years of it. We won nothing. So what's the point? So if you're sitting there going, Conte was right. Conte was right about a lot of the things. Where Conte was wrong was how he deployed certain players. Where Conte was wrong is his arrogance towards himself. And I liked Conte. I've always wanted Conte. But people saying Conte is this absolute mastermind. He's not. He's not. There's a reason he's not going to get the big clubs. There is a reason now. When you look at the teams that want a new manager, well, Bayern Munich had just been rejected by 3 different managers, and they're talking about Erik ten Hag. Man United would take Ange Postecoglou. And at the moment, I'd probably say Bayern Munich might take Ange Postecoglou. And that's not to say Ange is a world-class coach. What I'm just saying is there are no managers out there. Thomas Tuchel is probably going to end up at Man United, and they're talking about Erik ten Hag maybe going the other way to Bayern Munich. So if you take those 2 teams out of it, who are we going to get? Roberto De Zerbi? No thanks. I'd stop supporting Spurs because that's a real show of a lack of ambition. The guy's won less games than most of the teams in and around them at that part of the table. And he's been flirting with any club under the sun recently. So I'm not interested in him. Graham Potter, give over. I might as well be the manager if you're going to say Graham Potter. So, no, I'm not interested. So then people go, we've not developed, we've not pushed on. Okay, cool. So where did we finish last season? 8th. Right, okay. Where are we now? 5th. Right, okay. So that's 5 is better than 8. So that's a good start. Already had equal amount of points with 8 games to go. Right, well, I'm going to put a safe bet on us having more points then. Even if it's 3 points, that's still progression. So good. Let's ignore that one, that argument then. Yeah, well, last season we had Harry Kane, didn't we? Well, okay, what we had this season? We literally lost him, a day before the season? The guy's got, more goals and assists contributions-wise than games played this season for Bayern Munich. So if you're sitting there going, Ange's out of his depth, we've not improved, we've not done this, we've not done that, please, go have a look at some facts. Go have a look at the picture. Go look at the overall picture. These are your blinkers. Just do that and you'll see a hell of a lot more. Jazz hands, I know. You'll see a hell of a lot more than what you're seeing right now. Get your head out of your backside and have a little look. When we look at these players individually, I think I'm not worried about Vic. I mean, people have already started saying, Vic is, this is the Vic that we were worried about. Shut up. These are the people, by the way, that I don't think support Spurs. They just want to see us crash and burn so they can say, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. You shouldn't be like that as a Spurs fan. You shouldn't be. Now, every now and then you should be, because you should be like me saying, Emerson Royale's not good enough to play for us. I've told you that. Dejan Kulusevski, I don't think he's a good enough 10. I've told you that. That's the way we should be talking about these things. Being open and honest. Not saying Ange out of his depth, can't defend corners. Vic was always wasteful. Porro's can't defend. Destiny's too reckless. Romero's too reckless, which is a dumb take. If you are that person, lack of football knowledge is what I'd say about that. Basuma's not good enough. Well, he's better than Højbjerg, so there's another one there. And if you say Højbjerg should be our 6, I'm worried about you as a person. We should have a chat, you and me, in private. Let me get you some help, all right? These are things that we as a collective team, we should support our club. Now, you're allowed to have your opinions. There's nothing wrong with that. But if your opinion is always of blame the manager, we're never going to improve. Arteta finished, 8th, 3 seasons or 2-3 seasons in a row? Look at him now. Klopp didn't do well in his first season. Finished 8th. Look at them now. Look at them for the last, half decade. Pep's not always been fantastic at City. He's had some down periods. Look at the other times City have had managers. They've not always won the league. They didn't always finish in the top 4. They struggled to get top 4. Look at Chelsea right now. Spend all that money. Look at all the change of managers. And where are they? 8th? So, Spurs fans wanted this rebuild. But then Spurs fans don't actually want to do a rebuild. They just expect us to be winning the title. You're delusional. You're boring. And I'm done trying to actually explain to you how football works, because clearly you don't want to know about it. Look at this team and look at who's been a common denominator through all this. Look at a guy who sold our best ever player, our key player, a guy that scored 30 odd last season. I don't know exactly, but it was around that period. The guy who, at the moment, probably is the best player in the world. Then we didn't replace him. And then we went into the season with, well, we went and finished in the transfer market going with, we've got Mickey, we've got Kuti, we've got Eric Dyer and Davinson Sanchez. Then we sold Davinson Sanchez, so we went into the season with 3 centre-backs, and then we had to play 4 full-backs at the back for, a good handful of games. This isn't all Ange's fault. Now, is Ange guilt-free? No, he's not. There are things that he will probably say, look, I've mucked up here, there and everywhere. But Daniel Levy's a guy that won't accept any blame. I'm not at fault. I've done nothing wrong. Yes, you have. You've done a lot wrong, mate. I can probably, if you sit down, I'll tell you. There's players that Paratici's got wrong. Brian Hill's one. So there's people that this is a collective blame, and the players should be held accountable as well. I'm done with these players getting away with blue murder. What they turned up with in the first half yesterday was nothing short of a disgrace and an embarrassment. Pierre Højbjerg got subbed on for Basuma, who might have been our best player yesterday. He was having a good game, and I know people will say no, he wasn't, but that's because you've got a Basuma agenda and you're boring. Højbjerg, in the space of 5 minutes, took a 35-yard shot, which P-rolled or it went over? Either way, it was a really irrelevant shot. He then gave the ball away 4 times, and then obviously for the second goal, decided that he didn't want to stick a leg out and try and clear it and just let it go over him. I don't want to hear that he's a good 6. I don't want to hear that he should be starting. He shouldn't be starting. Our record with him starting is of a relegation team. I don't want to know about it. Sell him in the summer. Move on. Emerson Royal, awful yesterday. Madueke was just doing whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. He was winning headers. He was winning tackles. He was going on the right. He was going on his left. Emerson, maybe won 1 tackle? Maybe 2? I remember 1, but maybe 2. Maybe I missed 1. He slows every play down. He gives the ball away a lot. Sell him. Al Nassr offered 21 million in January. If they come in with anything near that, take the money, walk away, get a new fullback in. Who else had? Kulusevski's not a 10. I don't want to hear about it. Was shocking yesterday. That was a game. Do you know what I noticed? That was a game that I've been crying out for, and I think a few Spurs fans have been crying out for. If Maddison's not on form, how about you play the guy that's actually a 10 in that position? Not the guy who's a right winger. Giovanni Lo Celso. Do you know why I knew he was going to be important yesterday? When you watched the first 10 minutes and nobody could take control of the game, and Kulusevski wasn't getting on the ball, he was just running around like a headless chicken, giving petulant fouls away, which turned into really great chances of them, by the way. I think that needs to be called out a bit more. He's 24 now. He shouldn't be petulant. He shouldn't be giving away stupid fouls. Gio would have controlled that game hell of a lot more. We would have been on the front foot. Against Liverpool, he should be starting. But he won't be. He'll be brought on at left back because apparently that's his position. People going, Richie and Sonny. I tell you what, do you want to talk about a graveyard shift? Those 2 boys were running a graveyard shift, especially Richie. I felt so sorry for him. Running a graveyard shift. His hold-up play was decent. Just getting nothing. So look, I'm not going to go any further with this. I've had my moan. My smile's back on my face. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't. And if you are Ange out, I want you to tell me why you're Ange out with detailed points, and then who should be coming in with detailed points. Don't go Ange out and leave it as that, because clearly you've just got an agenda, you haven't really got any ball knowledge, and you're a bit boring. Talk to me as to why you think he should be gone. Talk to me why some players shouldn't even leave, even though they've been common denominators with Daniel Levy, and tell me who the replacement is and why. Don't go, it's this guy. Bye. Because I'm not interested. I want to have a conversation. I want to try and understand people's thoughts and feelings about this club, because I'm confused by it all. You know mine. I'm blaming everyone. You know mine about certain players that started yesterday. You know mine with certain people in the higher-ups. This is a collective blame, and us as fans deserve better. And I'm done with people walking around going, it's not my fault. Not my fault. It's the manager's fault. No, it's Daniel Levy's fault. Managers hold stuff to blame. These players have to hold stuff to blame as well. Let's not be Vibes FC anymore. Let's be a serious team. And a serious team moves off of Emerson. They moves off Højbjerg. They stop mucking around with Kulusevski if he's out of form. They play Giovanni Lo Celso in his actual position. They recruit and actually go for marquee names. They go and get players for the now as well as the future, like every big club does. City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea. Even Chelsea do that, Look at their squad and how young it is. Man United's the only team that don't, and look how much they're in debt and what they got to show for it. I hope this video maybe enlightens you to a few things, and I hope you in the comments maybe can enlighten me to a few things. And that is what this channel is all about, learning. But anyway, guys, then the video, I hope you enjoyed. Drop a like on the video. If you did, hit me in the comment section. Your thoughts, feelings about the game, the club, the manager. If you're Ange out, obviously give me a reason as to why and a replacement. Otherwise, I'm not interested. Obviously, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the notification for more. Anyway, guys, then the video. I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys.